What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, guys, today's topic. All right, I heard you guys. This is a name that keeps being repeatedly said inside of the comment section. So, listen, your draft profile, your basically film breakdown today, it's going to be on a pretty popular player here. Rhamondre Stevenson, Oklahoma. So, Rhamondre Stevenson, amongst doing a little bit of research, very interesting kind of prospect here. This is not a guy that had a lot of attention on him coming out of high school, guys. So, basically, I don't even think he was listed by many of the major recruiting, sites. Like, he wasn't really qualified. I mean, I guess you could call him a 1-star maybe, or a low 2-star. But I didn't see any actual star rating given to him. Unheralded. He ends up going to a community college that's in California. It's called Cerritos Community College. Spends 2 years there and becomes basically one of the highest rated JUCO transfers. He ends up choosing Oklahoma over places like BYU. You get an offer from like BYU and a couple other like mid-level programs. Oklahoma seems to be the largest of the names that I saw listed for him. Goes to Oklahoma, starts in 2019, kind of comes to Oklahoma and plays really, really well. But gets to the Peach Bowl, gets suspended for the Peach Bowl, and that suspension carried into 5 games into the 2020 season. And that's kind of the backstory to this young man. So without further ado, guys, let's talk about the type of player he is. Let me break down some of the film on him. We'll talk about strengths, weaknesses. We'll talk about some of the things that I've heard coming out of the scouting community. And we'll break it down step by step. Who is Rhamondre Stevenson and what kind of prospect is this young man?
12. Stevenson breaks free, and here goes Rhamondre Stevenson.
The first thing that stood out to me about Rhamondre Stevenson was just the pure athleticism. I came in with the expectation that this was going to be some kind of ground and pound thumper, that, more of a contact bounce back, a guy that's going to get north and south and run you over. And to be honest with you, there are elements of that game there, like you cannot arm tackle this guy.
Stevenson already over 100 yards today. He'll be adding.
Trying to arm tackle Rhamondre Stevenson is a big mistake. He's way too big to bring down. But to be honest with you, as I walked away from this, I realized he's a little more like Derrick Henry in his early years. A big guy that's a little more athletic than you think. And if anything, maybe there's more criticism towards the fact that he should be more of a contact bounce back than what he's being. He's a little skittish to actually do it at times.
Short pitch. Stevenson on 2nd and 6. And it'll be.
I think that there are some eerie similarities to Derrick Henry in terms of a big man with a lot of athleticism. And sometimes trying to get these big men to just understand you're bigger than everybody else. Lower your pad level and let's play some football.
So Rattler and company weren't in action. And now back.
Derrick Henry had to have that reminder earlier in his career. I think this is a guy that, to be honest with you, if you put it all together and you get this through this kid's head that, like, look, you're bigger, you're stronger than most guys out there. Time to play physical football. Combine that with the athletic gifts that this kid has. Something else, man. I love this kid's spin move, man. He's got an excellent spin move.
First down now, and they'll keep it on the ground with Stevenson. And Stevenson.
Going into the Senior Bowl, guys, he came out with some pretty impressive measurements. Came in at like 5'11", just short of basically 6 foot tall. Weighed in at a respectable 227 pounds, guys. He wasn't up at the 240, 245 mark that people keep mentioning him in. He didn't come in that high. 75-inch wingspan, which was pretty interesting for a running back to have that kind of wingspan. The only other person that was like really up there is like a Najee Harris. Najee Harris had an 81-inch wingspan. So, I mean, these are big backs. Najee Harris being the biggest. With that said, guys, you can see his athleticism play out. Look at what he did over the weekend. His pro day numbers over the weekend. Look, he ran a 4.63 40. That's not exactly lighting the field on fire, but that's a good number for a big man.
Next to go to Joe Bettner with the Norman transcript.
Rhamondre.
This is a guy that, imagine that kind of speed coming at you downhill. What's really scary to me, though, is that he put up a pretty respectable 20-yard shuttle for his size at 4.47. And, dude, he put up an amazing 3-cone at 7.09.
Not one coach or scout has ever came to me about a fullback. They know I'm a pure running back.
A 7.09 3-cone is really good for a dude this size. Like, this guy has more lateral quickness than people think. His change of direction is going to be pretty good if he's putting up a 7.09 3-cone, guys. Like, it's impressive, guys. And you can see this play out in his film. There are times to where he's just the most athletic guy on the football field for a big man. And I'd be honest with you, I understand the excitement around this kid. I really do, because I can't tell you that this is going to translate to the NFL, but I'm just telling you, if a prospect like this puts it all together, he's got some things to be really excited about. I get it. I definitely get the hype around him.
I think football is the same everywhere, but of course the game's going to speed up a little bit. Just like me coming from JUCO to OU, just the game got a little faster, but
I want to touch upon this aspect of what I'm talking about with his physical play, right? I don't want something to be misconstrued here. This kid is physical. This kid is tough.
Just when they were driving and hoping to find something, instead it's...
What I'm saying is, what impresses me is I watch film of him, and I'm breaking down the Florida game in the Cotton Bowl, which is an SEC defense, and I'm watching him take a game over. And even in that moment, guys, I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, this kid still has growth. If this kid figures it out and puts it together, he could be a nightmare in the NFL.
2nd and 2. Stevenson to the outside. The block from... Stogner pushes ahead, kept his balance, dances his way in.
There are times what I'm saying, guys, is that I went in this thinking like, oh, this is a 240-pound back that's just trucking people, right? And it's not really the truth. He has that element. He can do it, as I showed you guys on that one kind of contact balance play he had for a score. But at the same time, guys, he needs to lower the pads. He needs to play like a big man. He needs to get somebody that can really get on him and tell him, you're the biggest man on the field, on the campus, running a 4.6. Hit somebody. Knock him down. Like, if he figures that part of his game out, guys, he's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to be honest with you. This guy could be a nightmare in the league to try to match up with. Couple plays, like I said, guys, it's just simple adjustments like, hey, man, you got to lower the shoulder. You got to lower the shoulder, and you got to go get that extra yard or so, right? He's just got to be better at it, guys. I mean, he was far more athletic than I thought, but I still saw some development that needs to happen with the upright running stuff, man. He's way too much of an upright runner, guys. That has to change at the next level. You got to get behind those pads as a big guy, and you got to thump some people. And I'll tell you what, guys, I can't. I'm hearing a valuation of the 5th round here on Rhamondre Stevenson. I would be really happy if I was a football team, any football team, and I could pluck this kind of talent in the 5th round. Something gives me the feeling that he might go around earlier than what people are thinking. Just because when you really break down his film, man, there's a lot of talent underneath all this, man. Like, even though he hasn't really played that many games at the D1 level because of, he came in 1 year, then he got suspended at the end of that year, and then he kind of had to sit out 5 games of a already shortened season pretty much. Like, still, though, man, the underlying skill's there. The underlying talent is clearly there with this young man.
A lot of this from the Sooners this year. Fast starts. And Stevenson with a spin.
I saw a couple of other things that shocked me about him. I thought he had fairly good feel, and he was kind of patient. And there were a couple times I could really see it on the film that he had, the courage to hang in there and wait for something to develop and open and then shoot through it. He's got that actual athleticism to be able to do that.
Strength in the stiff arm to close it out.
A little bit of tempo.
Now, I will say, this is a criticism you can put on any running back. I can pull film and I can show you I'm doing this. So please don't take this overboard, guys. But just like every young running back, he dances too much at times. This is just, something that can be adjusted at the NFL level. Like, sometimes when you're dancing, it's just a matter of, like, waiting for something to open and you take a step or two extra. You're just expending more energy than what is needed. Simple fixes to this that you'll see at the NFL level is they'll deepen how far they're back in the backfield, right? Think Miles Sanders, what the Eagles did with him. Jordan Howard kind of taught him that trick of being 5 to 6 yards deep in the backfield. Now you don't need to dance as much as you're coming up to the line of scrimmage. That's something that can easily be adjusted at the next level. Not something I'm particularly, overly concerned about with any running back coming out. It's normally after like you've been in the league for a couple of years and that's still happening, then like, okay, there's something going on here. Like there's a much larger issue. But yes, I saw it. I'm acknowledging it's on his film, guys, but this thing's been coached so many times with running backs, guys. Like, I'm not overly concerned about it, to be quite honest.
This game's pretty fun.
2nd and 3.
Where Rhamondre Stevenson really stood out to me, guys, was in pass pro. Go back to what he did in the Senior Bowl practices in pass pro.
Now he better like prove me right. He's 246. That's it right there. Did you see that?
And that was quite amazing to watch and see. I was very pleased with what I was seeing from this guy in pass pro. I mean, he did a really good job. And to be honest with you, he's a better receiving back than I thought. Now, I will say that I've read some scouting reports, guys, to where they do say that at the next level, he might be more of a kind of like a swing pass or like a screen pass guy. But I got to tell you, I saw a couple of plays downfield to where one of them, I think they called him out of bounds, but I don't care, just a catch on that ball. It's like, wow, this kid's got better hands than people think.
Rattler. Fading back to his own 20 and somehow getting it downfield.
I don't know that he's going to be something like we saw with Miles Sanders with a lot of like downfield passing. I'm not insinuating that, but I'm saying that he's not a complete duck out there on third downs if you need him to be a receiving back. He can be more than just a pass protection specialist. He can take a little screen. He can take a little swing pass. He can do those things, right? Like, so I definitely think that he's put out a lot of good tape from the Senior Bowl. I thought his pro day was pretty good. I think, a guy this size running a 4.6 is a nightmare. Like, that 3-cone drill, most impressive thing I've seen from him. So, in my opinion, you got a very athletic guy out here who, I'll be honest with you guys, like, he's high on my board now. He's definitely moved up on my draft board personally just because I can see the underlying talent with this kid. This guy, he's got a real shot, guys. He's got a real shot to be something pretty decent in the NFL.
Pressure on Mac Jones needed to slow down that offensive passing attack.
All right, guys, one of the last things I'll just kind of talk about before I give you my concluding thoughts here is that I thought he showed the ability to get to the edge, man. I thought that he showed it time and time again on the film. He's got the ability to get to the edge. This is not a big man that doesn't have the requisite athleticism to run outside zone or anything like that.
2nd and goal. Stevenson to the edge.
I will say that Rhamondre Stevenson, when you really get deep into his film, I thought he played better in more power, kind of power pro type offenses where you got guards pulling and opening up holes for him. Like, I definitely thought, like, kind of like gap assignment stuff, he was really good. But I do think he has the athleticism to run outside zone, and he'll be perfectly fine with inside zone. So I think all the requisite, skill is there for him. Concluding thoughts, guys, I'll just say it this way. Tell me what you think, guys. Rhamondre Stevenson, what do you think? Did you guys, anything kind of shock you about him, right? Because, I went in here thinking contact bounce back only, right? 240-pound guy. I'm not thinking this is a guy that's making it to the edge. I'm thinking this is more of like a guy you bring in for short yardage and pass pro, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I may have made some assumptions that are not correct here. So let me know your thoughts on him, guys. What do you guys think about Rhamondre Stevenson? This is one of those ones where I'm really thankful you guys were like, hey, Gabe, you got to check this guy out, man. Good call, guys. Some of y'all made a really good call. I really appreciate this recommendation. I came away higher on this prospect than I was going into it, so that's always a good thing. All right, guys, don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Link is in the description below. Don't forget, if you also want to help without, having to come out of your pocket, just simply like and comment on the video. That's what communicates with the algorithm on YouTube and then causes this video to be recommended to others. And then lastly, guys, if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscription button, guys. And that's all I got for y'all today. I will see y'all on the next video.